Good evening. How are you,
Good.
Rick?
Doing well, doing well. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. And thanks to everyone. Hello this evening. It's Thursday. It's time for another Passion Speak. My name is Sandra Jennings. I am the co-host, the host of Passion Speak. Um, and where we give those with a passion a platform to speak. I'm looking at all these pretty colors and getting just totally tongue tied. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. We appreciate you doing so. Please like and share this video, like the YouTube, and share for whoever may be interested. Um, if it is, if you're returning, we appreciate you so much for returning. My guest this evening, I'm very excited to introduce to some and present to others, Mr. Rick Pulliam, who is assistant to the editor of the Grand Rapids Times, his family being the editor. Is that right, Rick?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Okay, and I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining me this evening.
No
And you're
problem.
going to tell us about this historic newspaper that has been in the West Michigan African American community and other communities for 60 some years, 65 or so years, right? Oh
Yep,
my
since
God.
1957. 1957.
Okay, okay.
John Bankston came here from down south, I think Mississippi, and he came in the 50s.
Mhm.
And he was a photographer, and he loved to take pictures. So he would go to the local bars or events like festivals, and he would take pictures. And he decided to have a magazine that spotlighted those pictures. And along with that, he decided to do some articles, and he began to be a kind of a journalist. And that was the birth of the Grand Rapids Times. My mother and father bought the paper in 1986, and it has been in our family since 1986. I have worked off and on with the paper since I was a kid, number of years, probably about 20, 22 years added up all together. So
Okay,
I've had a lot of experience with
wait, hold,
working.
wait,
What's
hold
up?
on, Rick. Hold
Oh,
on.
hold on.
Um,
Wait 2 minutes.
I
I'm
wanted
about
to, that's okay. You know how y'all are. Y'all love to talk. Oh my gosh. I just I just wanted to bring up this article that I found today. In fact, when
okay.
I was like, I can't believe I found this article. It was in my mother's. Let me just pull this banner off of here so you can see it. We're not going to be able to read this because the type is kind of small, but
Mhm.
it talks about. I'm gonna bring it in again because it's kind of timed out. It talks about John Bankston, the guy that you were saying, the founder of the Grand Rapids Times, and
Mhm.
how he passed away. This is from 2006. So um, that just to put a face, and some people may remember John, but you were saying he sold the business to your family.
Yes. My mother and father showed some interest in the paper, and he kind of groomed them to how he got the paper to where it was before he sold it to them. Gave them a lot of advice. Gave them a lot of advice about the printing business and pretty much everything they needed to know if they really wanted to go into the business. And they decided to do that. And as a family, we've been trying to bring good news about Black folks since 1986, since it's been in the family.
And you have done just that. I think anybody from the Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Muskegon, Holland, the Lakeshore area, anybody from those areas who've lived in these areas for any amount of time uh,
Mhm.
has got African Americans got to be a little bit familiar with Grand Rapids Times, just
I
a
hope
little
so.
bit.
I
Um,
hope so.
one of the things that you guys are known for is like the like you were saying with Mr. Bankston, he had a book called Faces. What is Faces and Places?
Yes, yes.
It was like a picture book of
It was.
the just the citizen society of the area, and that developed into the Grand Rapids Times.
Yes, a lot of people were attracted to the pictures because a lot of people saw people they knew. They saw their aunts, their uncles, nephews, people they went to school with, and that's why it was so popular. A lot of people like seeing themselves in the paper. That's where that was really the birth of it. And then he went into making articles, and it turned into a newspaper.
Now, I just can't remember. I do have a couple of those Faces and Places books in our archives somewhere in this house. I have no idea where it's at, but I know I come across. It was about the size of Jet magazine, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was more of a pamphlet.
More of a pamphlet.
Yeah, it was like maybe 6 pages at the most, and a lot of the things that he did, it was barbecues or cookouts or someone's birthday or wedding. He would take pictures there, and he would put them all over town, and he got a lot of notoriety off of doing that. So a lot of people began to know who he was.
So it was kind of, would you call it a society page for the area?
Yes, it's a kind of a who's who
Oh,
for Grand Rapids, and
okay.
a lot of people who were the movers and the shakers were featured in there a lot. The
Okay.
people who were the blacks who were in politics, in law enforcement, all over the country. I mean, all over the city, doing different jobs. The Pantland Hotel was a big deal. A lot of blacks worked down there, and so we've done interviews with people who worked at places where blacks normally didn't work at historically here in Grand Rapids. So a lot of them were groundbreakers, and they worked at places where, like my father was one of the first. My father's name was Jurgen Pulliam, and he
Hmm.
was one of the first employees on 36th Street at GM, first black employees at GM on 36th Street, and he opened the door for a lot of other blacks who he would tell them to go there and fill out an application, let them know they were hiring blacks, and things that at least that for GM had changed a little bit. So he was able to help a lot of people get into GM, even after he had been there. I think my dad worked there about 37, 38 years.
And
So he helped a lot, quite a few blacks get in the door.
and then your mother was an administrator for the public schools, right? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Well, she started off as a teacher at Central, and then she went to GRCC, and she taught at GRCC for maybe 10 years. Then she got into the administrative side, and she went back to school to MSU, got a degree, and she ended up being one of the, well, she was interim president for about 2 years while they were searching for another president at GRCC. She worked at GRCC probably about, I think about 37 years, 38, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so the newspaper wasn't their livelihood; it was something they did as a passion.
Actually, the passion was my mother's passion. My dad was just along for the ride at first. He was retired, and he had nothing else to do. So he put a lot of effort and energy into the Times, which was not his dream, but it became his dream and his passion as well as my mother's. But originally, it was her passion, and she had a smaller paper that she tried to like a mock paper kind of idea of what she wanted to write about, and it was called the Grapevine. And she and one of her best friends, Gertrude Kroom, they had put that together, and that was the first time she really became interested in writing and putting articles together. And that was a little bit before she discovered the Grand Rapids Times with John Bankston, and she had several meetings with him, and then she had meetings with my dad and John Bankston, and they really decided to go ahead and do it. And John let them know financially how much it's going to be, and what they needed to make it last as long as he had, for the longevity side of it. And he always said something about looking for the future and changing with the future. And that's what we've been trying to do.
Okay. So I talked with you earlier and I asked Rick, send me a handful of pictures so I can kind of give an example of what the Times has been doing, and you didn't do it. You made me go in my mom's archives. So here's what I found. And you're not gonna believe this. This is how you know when it's God, because I went to one box that had newspapers in it, brought it
Okay.
upstairs and looked through, and I mean, I wasn't in 10 to 15 minutes when I found these articles. So I'm going to share them. And
Okay.
this piece is just, I'll tell you as you see the different images. So this is one thing I like about the Times is that you didn't have to be a multi something. You just had to be a part of the community to get in the paper. This was
Exactly.
Reverend Lyman Parks and his passing. This was a
Hmm.
memorial article they did. Here's one on Bishop Abney when he passed. And this box seemed to be of a certain decade. This is artist Paul Collins when he had a venture with the Rosa Parks sculpture celebration. And then this popped out. Of course, my mom, she loved Obama, so she saved that paper of him
Okay.
in the inauguration. And so there's actually, I have quite a few, but these just jumped right out. And I said, these will have to do. And then what else did I see? Oh, there's a picture of my mom in the left corner. So I know why she kept that particular times. And this is Miss Berthel Archie. We all know her. And so
Hmm.
she was up front that time too. And this is a friend of mine, Melissa Selman. She's remarried now, and I can't think of her married name. But anyway, apparently this was an article. And there's that article of Selman was an advertisement for, I think, Bethany Christian or a Big Brother Big Sister program. And then
Hmm.
there's Mr. John Bankston again. So those were some of the pictures that I came across when I dug in the box, and I was kind of like I had to get them onto this medium. So I was like, oh, now I'm running late. So, but I want to also, you guys are on social media. You have a Facebook page, you have a Twitter account, and you have a website. And I'm
Yes.
going to show the website real quick because I think it's very nice to have different sections. And then I want to talk to you about trends.
Okay.
So you have a rotating picture. That's Sharon Reed. She passed just recently. And this is a Tuskegee Airman who passed. These were some front, I don't know. No, I think the Sharon was a nice insert that was in one of the issues
Hmm.
last month when she passed. I think she passed, I don't know if it was January or December.
I think it
Um,
was December.
December? Okay.
I think so. Hmm.
Um, Here is the obituary page, notables, Sharon's life story, and Eleanor Yvonne Atwater. And of course, Beverly Drake, who I was familiar with. We worked together on various political campaigns. But
Hmm.
you also have national news and some local. And then you guys used to have what was like a page 6 of Grand Rapids,
Hmm.
where it just had all the locals. Here's what's happening on the local scene. And then
Right.
I really like that. That was the one. In fact, it got big. It seemed like over the years it got bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. A lot of people like that. Another thing that we're bringing back, you'll see us do a lot more of the remember wins, we call it. And
yeah.
it's just a collection of pictures of people from back in the day. It's people who were what I call movers and shakers in Grand Rapids, like Ray Tardy, different people like that. Uh, Cedric Ward. Uh, we do articles that we try to tell the history of Grand Rapids. Like, for example, with the Giants banquet, my mother and Cedric Ward got together, and I remember for months they talked about putting one together and what it would look like, and they finally put it together and contacted who they needed to contact, and they made the Giants banquet happen, and it's still a viable source of trying to let the community know about people who are doing positive things in this community. It's still going because of the pandemic. We haven't had it in a couple of years, but things like that let people know the history of Grand Rapids.
The Giants Award or the banquet and awards, it's got to be 20 years.
Yes,
Has, has it been 20 years?
yeah, I think about pretty
Okay.
close, pretty close.
Okay. So now, how did you get involved with the Times?
I got involved with the Times. I came home from school. I was attending Grambling State University, and my mother was interviewing someone in her office, and she waved me to come in the office, and she said, "Interview this guy real quick. I need to run across the street." I got to run a couple of errands, and I thought that was odd. Yeah, I said okay. So I was like, Mom, I really don't know how to interview people. That's not what I'm going to school for. Or I don't know anything about that. And
Mm,
she said, well, just go in there and ask the man some questions. Just ask him. You don't know him. Just ask him what you think, what you want to know about him. And that sounds easy. But when I got in there, at first it was like pulling teeth. But about halfway into the interview, I really got a feel for it. And man, I couldn't tell you how many articles I've written now. I was thinking about that the other day. It's up there, over 500.
So, so
Yeah,
did the bug kind of bite you?
people show me articles that I don't even remember writing. I'm like, wow, I spelled that wrong. I sit there and critique it, but it helps me to see where I've grown as far as writing.
Wow.
And so it's been a little while. A lot of people who come up to me, I don't necessarily remember I remember their face, but I don't remember the article or sometimes, but that's just because I've done so many. But I really do appreciate the community when they reach out to me. Like some people come up to me that I didn't even know knew me, and I appreciate the love that I get from people when I'm dropping off papers in the community. And a guy told me the other day, I got to get one of those. I said, okay, calm down. He said, no, my uncle's in there. I love my uncle. I didn't know he was still around here. And so a lot of times people find out even about relatives that they didn't know. Sometimes people think everybody knows everybody in Grand Rapids, and they don't. You know,
They really
uh, they don't. I think what the Times brings to the community is a sense of Black pride, and I think it brings a sense of positivity when people from other races look at Black people. We want them to not only remember the ones that did things that were not good. We're none of us are perfect, but we try to spotlight people who are striving to be positive. That's our goal, and that's what we do locally, and we celebrate people locally. People who have moved away from Grand Rapids, we still mail papers to them. They still have subscriptions, so it's amazing to us how tied people are to Grand Rapids who have left, but they still want to know what's going on in Grand Rapids. So we send out about probably about 300 papers every Friday. We mail out to people all over the country, and that's a
um,
beautiful thing that they're still thinking about us.
I had to get my mother a subscription during the pandemic because she couldn't really get out. None of us could really.
Yeah,
And she was
and
missing it.
it's not that expensive. It's $50 for 1 year, and you can have it mailed to you and to your home, and you don't have to worry about going to church and whether or not everybody took a copy. I've heard people say that they've gotten to church and all the papers were gone. If $50, and we will send it to your home, and you don't
Right.
have to worry. People
Exactly.
taking all the paper. Some people come and grab 10. Some people grab one.
Hmm.
So uh-huh.
It weighs out over time, right? Because some days you may not, some weeks you may not get a paper.
So
Speaking of that, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh no,
I
you mean you said some weeks you might not get a paper.
Yeah, like there were some times when I would go to my location where there would be a paper. This before I bought a subscription,
Oh,
and I'm like, where's the times, And
right.
then they're all gone. Maybe someone's family was there and they grabbed a bunch of them. I don't know because some locations, I think it was 50 cent. The cover price of 50 cent, right?
Right.
So
Well,
some
we pretty much they're pretty much free right now. Uh, we I mean, unless it's some of the reason why they're free is because some of the locations they usually pay a certain amount a month to have the papers there, so they're really not free because the establishment pays for the papers. So a
oh,
lot
and
of
they
people
just
think
offer it to the
that
community.
they're actually paid for. Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to change the subject a little bit because we all know what's happening to paper media. Like
Hmm.
it is being replaced. And I guess I'm just real curious, and I was a little bit surprised over, that your paper does not seem to be slowing down. And even when the Grand Rapids Press went from, a Sunday paper, this to like down to there, it just got a few little ads in it. And I'm like, how is the Times surviving? Speak to that. How are you
Uh,
surviving?
Basically, we are surviving because of our the ads that people are putting in. They're supporting us with putting in ads. We get ads from Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Spectrum Health. A lot of local businesses really embrace us, and they are trying to promote diversity. So they advertise in our paper, and a lot of people support us just locally. A lot of people have subscriptions. I have people come in and they buy subscriptions for people they know. So we always appreciate that. And basically, what we want to do is march into the future. And our future involves moving to the internet more. We want to expand on the internet. We want to get a wider range website where we can sell merchandise on it or offer other things. One of the things we want to branch out into is making the paper available on the internet as well as a physical paper. A lot of older people, they like to hold the paper in their hands, and
Mhm.
a lot of younger people like to read the paper off of their phones. So we want to figure out a way to be able to serve both of them, both of those audiences. So that's what we're working on, and we're working also on having more to offer people when they get a subscription. And that entails having more sports, more entertainment, and just expanding the paper. That's what we're looking at for the future.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, and you answered that question from where do we go from here? Because I was going to ask you that, but you went right into it. I appreciate that.
I warned you. I am a talker. I warned you.
You That's okay because we needed to hear. I think it's so important for the black press. Um, like I don't expect you to answer this kind of off the cuff, but if you have anything to contribute, the black press in Michigan, do you think it's been strong over the decades? Um, do you have any thoughts about that?
Um, as far as I think the black press has been strong in Grand Rapids, and I think all the papers are working towards expanding and reaching bigger audiences. I think with the Times, another thing that makes us special is we try to get homegrown information out to the public. For example, we just recently did an article on a young man named Austin Young, and I think Austin's mother called the Times when he was maybe 13 or 14, and he had started preaching. And I thought that was special, a 13 or 14-year-old preaching. So I called him up and I did an interview with him, and I was shocked at how mature he was for his age. And Austin has always been like that. He has always been a solid young man that listened to his parents, and he had his own goals and dreams, but his parents knew what those were and they support him. And so we've kind of followed his journey. And so I recently did an article on him, catching up with him. And I think the last time he had graduated from Morehouse, and he went to Africa for I think a whole year, and did some mentoring and pastoring and things like that. And then he came back here, and he is now the pastor of a church in Washington, D.C. And that's one of the articles that a lot of people, we got a lot of hits on Facebook. People enjoyed the article, and it was nice to see a young man from Grand Rapids that is, really taking off and achieving his goals. Another one was Sakaya. What is her last name? I can't think of her last name. Anyway, Sakaya, I met her when she was like probably 10 years old, and she's a track star. And she's been running since she was 10 years old in elementary school, and she ran all the way through college. And she's now finished college. She's a mother now, and it's a whole new life for her. But Sakaya is like one of the kids that the Times kind of adopted, and we kind of followed her journey. So a lot of people like to read about things like that. A lot of people know her, and but a lot of people don't know her story. So we try to tell people's story.
Mm, that's nice. That's nice to hear. So,
Mhm.
as we wind down a little bit, I'm curious, what do you think the Black community, the Grand Rapids community, Battle Creek, Muskegon, Kalamazoo, who else do you serve? Holland.
Yes, Holland too. We used to drop off the paper there physically. That didn't work out. So what we do is we'll feature stories from Holland, from Benton Harbor, from Grand Rapids. Like we put in recently articles about Benton Harbor and their water, and yeah, we have kind of updates. And I have people who live in Benton Harbor. I have a sister that lives in Benton Harbor, and so I have an interest there. And we put things in the paper that advances that they had with clearing the water and changing the pipes and all of that. We kind of update and let people know where they are with that process, and we also let people know where available water is, where they can go and get bottled water. A lot of the times it's at churches and other places, but we try to keep people updated on things like that.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what can the community do for you, if anything, for the Times to, our
Uh,
contribution back to the Times?
they could, we would like people to give us a call and let us know if there's something you would like for us to write about. Give us a call and let us know. If you would like to enter something into the paper, like a poem or an article that you've written yourself, feel free to send it to staff@grtimes.com. Don't worry about how you write. We can change it into newspaper language. We'd also like the community to let us know things that are going on that you think we might not know and that we need to know. So we would appreciate that too. Our phone number is 616-245-8737. Once again, that's 616-245-8737. Give us a call. My name is Rick, and I'm a friendly guy. Don't worry about having any issues with me. I love people. I love Grand Rapids. I love the people of Grand Rapids. I love the love that I get out in the community, and I hope that people learn more about the times and value the times like we do. So that's pretty much what I would like from the community. Just let us know what's going on. Keep us up on things that you think we might know, even if you think everybody knows. Let us know anyway. It might be something that we need to know and we don't know. We can't know everything, but
Okay.
we'd appreciate help on that from the community. That'd
Okay.
be awesome.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Well, we're gonna wind it out and get on out of here, Rick. I appreciate your time. Who is
Thank
that?
you so much
Uh,
for having me. I appreciate it. Much love to you and your show. Awesome
yeah.
job. You're doing very professional.
Oh,
Everyone out there, please support because
please.
this is
Yeah.
a wonderful lady and she's doing an awesome job.
Oh,
Please
thank you.
continue. All
And
right.
thank
Thank you so
you.
much
Like
for
and
having me.
share. Wait, Rick, don't go away because we got one comment.
Okay.
Oh, Carolyn Tate, who happens to be a relative of mine. Hi, I
I
call her
love
Aunt Carolyn. Hi, Aunt Carolyn. She said, didn't know Rick was such a talker.
her. But Carolyn Tate is one of the first people that I met when I was adopted. I didn't even mention that. I was adopted when I was 4 years old, and she was one of the very first people that I met in Grand Rapids, one of my mom's best friends. So love Carolyn.
Beautiful.
Love
Beautiful.
her.
Thanks
Yeah.
for watching. Let's see who else we got. Penelope Jones, a good friend. Hi, Penny. She says, thank you, Sandra. Thanks for watching, Penny. And of course, Andre Posey says, great interview. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate it. Andre does the graphics for me. So I
Oh,
appreciate
okay.
him because I don't know if I
Okay.
can do it. He
Well,
does
Andre Posey is a very important person here at the Times. He's our graphic artist. And so when you see the paper laid out with the pictures in the article, he's
Mhm.
responsible for that. Very creative.
Really,
Andre's been with us over 20 years. So that is a key component to the paper.
really has
Andre,
been there that long?
yes.
Oh.
Andre's been with us for a long time, over 20 years.
That was pre-Photoshop. I wonder what he did there. He cut it out and glue it on. Just kidding.
I, I don't know. He started off as an artist and bloomed from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful. And then
Uh,
we got LaCherie Pender, my cousin. Hi, LaCherie. Thanks for watching, dear.
that's my Creston polar bear buddy.
Uh-oh, Creston Polar Bear in the house.
That's right.
Ottawa, Indiana. I mean, Ottawa Bingo.
All
Ottawa
right. That's all right.
Bingo.
None
Okay.
but love. None but love.
None but love for you. I got it. Yep. Well, thank you again. Thanks
Okay.
everyone for watching. We really do appreciate it and for supporting. And call the times with the scoop. We don't.
Yes.
We want the times to get to 411 because we want the black press to continue for
That's
another
right.
50, 60 years
That's
and
right.
keep on going. So
That's right.
lovely. She said, Aunt Carolyn says, enjoy the evening conversation very much. I appreciate that. And
That's
Rick,
all.
he's dynamic. So you got to give it. He's going to talk. Oh, man, if I could have you on the show every single week. But I really appreciate you sharing your passion and sharing the times with the community, especially since the editions are free. I was going to say, yeah, we get them free. We go right down to the store. If you get there, you can't wait
Yep.
to pay because they will run out. But
Yes.
if they do, you can stop on Eastern and get you a copy. No problem.
Yes. Yes. We are located at 2016 Eastern, right across the street from the post office on Eastern and Burton.
Right. And I've
Stop
been
on in. And if you got something to show me or you just want to meet me, just stop on in. We'd love to meet you and we'd love to hear anything you have to say. That's positive.
great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thanks, everyone.